Hey guys, we're here with Vanessa Goertzen and she's going to show you how to make our vintage picnic pattern that she designed exclusively for Fat Quarter Shop.
This is a fat quarter pattern that I have made using my new line with Moda Fabrics called Gooseberry. The first step is to cut all of your pieces according to the pattern. And as you can see, I use alphabets to label all of my pieces. Now let's take a closer look. The first step is to create 2 strip sets. So referring to your pattern, you'll lay out your pieces. You have the first strip set and the second. You'll just piece them together in order, pressing the seams towards the print. The next step is to subcut your strip sets. So the first one you'll cut in half, and then you'll take one of the halves and subcut it in half again. And then you'll do the same thing with the second set. You'll just subcut it in half. The next step is to rearrange the pieces. You'll have the biggest one in the center, and then you'll alternate your strip set pieces so that they form this checkered sort of center. Then you're going to sew the first 2 together like that, the third and the fourth together, press the seams, and then you'll bring those 2 together and add on the bottom part, resulting in the center block you see here.
It looks awesome and it is so easy.
The next step is to retrieve your A squares and actually arrange them around that center block. Because I'm using a unidirectional print, this really helps me make sure that it's all facing the right direction. Once they're all in place, the next step is to add connector corners. What connector corners are is just a method of adding triangles onto a block. So I take my I squares, and as you can see, I've marked a diagonal line across there, and I used a friction pen. I love using the friction pens because as you iron over them, they disappear, so there are no markings left. So you'll just arrange these marked squares right sides together to the A squares as indicated in the pattern. Then what you're going to do is you're just going to stitch along that diagonal line, and you'll trim a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then you'll press it over. Now what I like to do is I will actually stitch just a hair width away from the diagonal line towards this outer edge, and that's because when you press it open it tends to shrink back just a little bit, and it's over exaggerated here. But if you sew just a little bit away from it, when you press it open, it will end up lining up exactly the way that it's supposed to do. The next step is to sew together your A squares in pairs, just like that. And then to 2 of them, you're going to add your H squares. This will be for the top and bottom row of the square. The last step is to lay out all of your pieces according to the pattern. You've got this top row sewn together. You can now sew these side pieces to that center block, and then you'll have your bottom row pieced. Once those are put together, you can sew all the rows together. It finishes at 19 inches.
This is a beautiful block and it would work great in pillows, table runners, and quilts, and we're so honored that it's available exclusively at Fat Quarter Shop. We've got a paper pattern, a PDF pattern, and a kit. It's one of my favorite quilts from 2015. Let's give Vanessa a thumbs up below for joining us at Fat Quarter Shop.